Hello everyone, hi, I'm Tim. This is Selfless Awakening, where I like to ground all of this spiritual stuff, the self-help stuff, this stuff that we can read that makes us feel better. Happy Father's Day. Today is Father's Day, and I'm streaming to Instagram right here. I'm also streaming to Facebook over here. And then I have a camera behind here. I'm having a fun social media experiment right now, and I'm doing. I'm recording this all on a higher quality video. If you want to see the latest videos I've done, the link's in the description. The link is in my description to go to the YouTube page. I'm in the middle of a 30 Days of Awakening video series where I am each day. For 30 days straight, I'm waking up, I do my inner meditation practice, and then I ask the universe, what could I say, how could I be of service to others, what could I say, what insight could I share that might help somebody. And then some things come to me, and I talk about them, and I just put it out there. It's been a fun experiment, and just on that topic, I just have to say, I really love the idea of using social media for in this way to talk. Like, what better things to talk about than how to feel better, like how to be happier. Like, this is the great use for social media, in my opinion. It's like, let's all collectively share all of the tools that we've learned to feel better, and then continue to next level. Like, I don't know, it makes sense to me. So here we go. So today, being that it's Father's Day, I thought this might be a nice time to talk about being a parent as you're awakening, what that's like, some tools that you can use. I've had my awakening, my becoming present to myself as something more than just the story of Tim, my story, more than just my body and all of that. My journey to this deeper awareness happened during the time that I was raising my now 15-year-old daughter, and I was also married at the time, and we've been divorced for a few years now, and I have to say, my big awakening happened when my daughter was maybe 1.5 or 2, I guess I would say. Really, and when I say my big awakening, I really mean it's more like my second stage of awakening. My big first awakening happened when I was 20. Let's see, I was probably 23. I think was when I had my big sort of. All of a sudden, I couldn't not hear every word the voice in the head said. It was like I was walking around and I couldn't stop hearing. It scared the shit out of me when I had my first awakening. And then I learned later that I was becoming present to myself as the witness, the constant observing mind, and I didn't know that that's what was happening to me. But that happened in my early 20s. And then when I was 31, I completely collapsed my ego through just pushing business. Like, I was one of these like young sort of leave a wake of pushed energy in the way that I would try to get projects done. And so there was a big project I was working on in my early 30s, education stuff, and I just completely burned it to the ground with egoic behavior. That's the simplest way to say it. And then that was my second awakening. And around that time was when I started. That was right when my daughter was 1 year old. So hello. So it was at that time that I would say the idea, the spiritual parenting, like I started to. Hi, Leslie. I'm talking about about mindful parenting, spiritual parenting. Since it's Father's Day, I thought that would be a nice topic to talk about. And And I can say, so in this time when I had my second real crack of the ego, where I thought I was going to be doing this thing, and the universe went, nope, you're going to be doing this. And it was in that time that I had this even deeper connection to spirit, to mindfulness, to like, I was more and more present at that moment to myself as being the constant, blissful, non-physical self inside of myself at that time. And it was an incredible time. And what was really cool about that time was I was able to be very present for my daughter at that time. You know, and that's a big part of this spiritual parenting thing. And this is kind of what I would like to say to get into some of these tools, is that there are a few different parts to parenting and how a mindfulness or spiritual practice can be of service. And it's all about understanding these different modalities of parenting and knowing how spirit or mindfulness or self-awareness practice can fit into them. For instance, we've got the idea of being present in the moment with your kids, being able to be there and not be identified with your thoughts and your thinking, or distracted from work or distracted from relationship stuff, but you're able to actually fully be in the moment. That's one aspect, that's one modality where we can insert spirituality into parenting. Another one, which is really one of the most fun ones I'm finding, is you literally can, when you're present to, let's say, these laws of the universe, these spiritual axioms that are truths, like focusing on love over fear, follow love over fear, asking yourself, what would love have me do in situations, teaching your children that they are not their ego as they're building their ego. Like, these are all things you actually can do. And I have to say that it's like, this part of it is like programming your child with the right programming from the beginning. You know, like when you are awakening, you know you're able to do that. And of course, it's impossible not to pass on some of the unconscious behaviors and patterns and thinking that that you had installed in you as a child. So there's going to be some of that's going to inevitably come through, and you have to make peace with that. Like, I believe in parenting, one of the things that we're looking to do is to heal those unconscious patterns within ourselves, so that then we don't pass them on to our children. And the thing is we all are doing the best we can, and we all can only get so far at the evolution of the awakening process, and we have to honor that. You know, teach them to listen to their own inner guidance. Leslie said, yes, that's another modality. So when we talk about how to insert spirituality into parenting, we've got the idea of being present in the moment with them. Like, when you're there with them, you can be fully there with them. We've got that part. We've got the programming them with the right internal dialogue, the right axioms. Things like this was something that my parents programmed into me as a child, and I believed them. And I've consciously programmed my daughter with this thought. You can do anything that you put your mind to. You can do anything that you put your mind to. You're brilliant. You're a brilliant person. You can do anything you put your mind to. All you have to do is just focus on it and do it. It's like my parents installed that in me, and my mom said it so many times that I believed her. And so when I would be up against things that were difficult in my life, I would have that programming has kicked in and said, "Nah, Tim, you can do this. If someone else can do it, you can do it too. Figure out how to do it." Like, that programming came from, like, my awesome mom is like, she really reinforced that in me. And my mom also convinced me that I'm a really creative person. She told me that all the time. You're so creative. You're so creative. That I started to believe it, you know, and I am pretty creative. And now I know I'm creative, but like, I was programmed early on with that. And so there's that aspect. There's the programming the kid aspect, which is cool. And then, as Leslie was talking about, this is the real good one, is teaching your children how to listen to their own intuitive guidance, how to tap into their own alignment with source energy, with the highest intelligence inside of them, whatever language you want to use to say that. Like, that's the real thing. That's the key. Because the way I think about it with Vivian, the way I've thought about it with her in general, this whole parenting thing, is I'm here to train her to be an independent being in this world. That's my job. It's not, my job is to give her the tools that she needs so that she can have a fulfilling life and have a life experience that she wants. And in doing that, you can't expect yourself to be. I can't expect myself to be I give her the guidance at every decision of her life. I'm happy to, and I'm so thankful that she comes to me for so many things, including, like, she's almost 15, and she'll talk with me about boys and stuff, and that's blows my mind that my almost 15-year-old daughter will talk to me about boys. And it's a very interesting it's very interesting, that whole the way those conversations go. Maybe I'll talk about that later, but the thing of it is like, I want to be here for her when she feels she is looking for guidance. I don't want to be, and I don't want to, and I'm not involved in like hey, I don't try to get too nitpicky in her life. I honor her where she is, and I allow her to make her own mistakes. Like, that's a big part of it, is like, there's, at some point, it's like, well, there's no wrong decision here. If you make this decision, that might lead you down this path. There might be some multiverses that spin off if you make the decision that go this way. Or if you make this decision, there might be some paths here that, oops, sorry, I just got a phone call from my dad. I'm going to call him back later. But like, what I do with Vivian now is, when we're talking through things, is I'll look at the multiverses that could potentially come out of the decisions that she's making. So, here's a perfect example. She's a freshman now in high school, and she's going to be a sophomore next year, and we're looking at her course load, her schedule, and she's deciding whether to take a certain AP course or not. And we were looking at, from a very mindful, present place, whether or not she should take this hard class, which she isn't really interested in, and doesn't necessarily have an impact on her transcripts for college. Like, this class isn't necessarily going to be a big booster for her college, but it's a ton of work. And all of her friends are taking this class. All of her smart friends, because she's a straight A student. She's very bright, and she's very, good at school, and she has a lot of ego around how good she is at school, and how straight A student she is, and how she loves the challenge of classes. And so we were really looking at this idea of why would she take this hard course, And so it was a really beautiful, sort of deep, looking at where fear is, what's the motivating force between taking the class or not taking the class. And we were able to, like, get to the source of what feels like her truth together. And she's 14, and I have to say, it's such an incredible feeling to be awakening, and having your daughter, seeing her awakening too, and seeing her programmed with an awakening mindset. And we went out to the mall with one of her friends the other day, and the conversation quickly turned to metaphysical things, to I guess higher consciousness awareness things, spiritual talks, and apparently all of her friends at her table when they're eating at school, they have these deep metaphysical talks between themselves. And so I think she wanted to kind of have one of these talks with me there and her friend, so that her friend could see how crazy that we get. And you know, I just love that. I mean, it's such an incredible thing to be awakening to yourself as the non-physical self, and to be present and to be deepening into that while you can be of service and helping another person have that same deepening, you know. And you're able to, from a place of peace and mindfulness, program them with these thoughts, these looping thoughts. You can program their subconscious mind with thoughts that actually will serve them moving forward in the future. Like, that's what an absolute incredible gift it is to be able to do that in parenting. And I just have to say, you have to really be, like, it's so easy to feel guilt as a parent. I can tell you, I felt guilt as a parent before, and it's easy for the mind to go to these regrets around those moments when you weren't there, when you weren't present. Maybe you were there, but you weren't there. Your mind was trying to do something else, and you have to kind of forgive yourself. We're all on this awakening journey, and we're doing the best we can. But if you are a parent and you have contact with your child, and you have the opportunity to any moment start over and come to a place of identification and hold the identification of yourself with that deeper, constant love place, and be able to step out of what patterns maybe you had in your parenting before. Every moment is a chance to start over. And you have to trust the energy and trust the vibrational nature of the universe. As you continue to vibrate higher, everyone around you is influenced by that. And a big part of this spiritual practice is about holding yourself in the identification of your deeper self, so that you're not reacting out of your own programming, right? This is about coming at every situation from your highest self, and especially with your children. And just know, even though we do program our kids with programming sometimes that may not be of service to them, and we wish we could take it back, even though this does happen sometimes, know that it's all fixable. Everything is fixable. These minds, these lives, they are so elastic. There are people that have been through incredibly, what seemingly horrible things in the world of form, horrible experiences that have come through them, that have transcended them to be not only freed of it, but stronger because of it, to be more aligned and more centered. So no matter what your kids have been through, you can always help them by being an example of presence around them. And one other thing I want to say about it too is that I let Vivian know about what's going on with me. Like, if I have things coming up at work, or like, I let her see me working through my problems. I'll let her actually have the experience of telling her what's going on, and I find that really deepens our relationship. So, so this spiritual parenting thing, it really is a very powerful part of the awakening, and it's so incredible to have you get to kind of, if you're awake at the early stages of your child coming up, you have such a special thing you can do for that person, that you can set them up. You can set them up so that they react differently to fear their whole lives, so that they can learn how to step out of it. You can teach them how to meditate and breathe, and you can teach them everything that you are learning now, so that it's installed in them. And it's such an incredible feeling. So if you're thinking about, I encourage every mindful person waking up out there, take the plunge to being a parent. It will crush your ego. It will reshape your ego into a new thing. You learn a lot about life that you didn't even know was there. And So I'm so thankful to be a dad, and I'm so thankful to have such a beautiful connection with my daughter, and you know, so there you go. If you have any comments or things you'd like to share about your parenting tools that you use and techniques that you use, feel free. This is something maybe that I think needs to be talked about more. There's so much to say about it. How to stay present with your children. How to here's a big one, is how to build an ego. How to allow an ego in a child to be built while you teach them that they are not the ego. Like, that's something I think about a lot, that I talk about a lot with my daughter. But anyway, there you go. That's enough for today. Sending you all lots of love. And if you have anything to say about spiritual parenting, like I said, leave a comment. Hi, I'm Facebook. We got Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube here. So, all right, I think I'm going to stop there for today. Happy Father's Day to you fathers out there. If you have any topics, mindfulness, self-help, spirituality, how to manifest your career, life, find peace inside, that kind of stuff. If you have anything you want to talk about or you'd like me to talk about, I'm doing this. This is day 5 of 30 Days of Awakening. Every morning for 30 days, I'm going to come online and do a live video. So, yeah. So, oh, wow. Right at the end, breastfeed as long as possible. Yes, I think that sounds great to me. Yeah, I mean, well, interesting. Actually, that does raise an interesting question, though. Breastfeeding as long as possible, right? Yeah, like that is a how long do you do that type thing? Because there is a line, there is a point where you cross a line where society will judge you if you go past a certain line, and it's like, that is an interesting question. How far do you go past that? But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to go into that right now. I'm going to go pick up my daughter and we're going to go play Frisbee. So, yeah, if you have any thoughts on it, let me know. But anyway, sending you all love. Have a beautiful day. And if you're checking this out on YouTube and you got this far through this meandering podcast style talk, then subscribe, click the little notification to stay up to date on the videos, okay? I'll be on tomorrow morning. I'm not sure what time yet I'll be on tomorrow morning. I'll let you all know. I'll put it up in the story, okay? Have a beautiful day. Happy Father's Day to you fathers out there. Cheers.